Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Wisdom in the Best Books and Films, where we find bite-sized nuggets of truth and use them to become better people. I'm Jake Bear, the host, and this week I am thrilled to be able to talk about a Faith Moore novel called Christmas Carol. Hopefully you all caught last week's episode where I was able to interview Faith. What a delight she is, and I am so grateful for her for letting me have that opportunity to chat with her. If any of you are new to the show after listening to Faith Moore's interview, welcome, and I hope you enjoy. Feel free to reach out with any questions or comments. If you have not read Faith Moore's book, Christmas Carol with a K, I highly recommend it. It's a very fun read for both children and adults, so it's a good one to read with kids or just by yourself. As usual, if you enjoy the show, please leave a review on Apple or Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts and share it with friends. Here is this week's episode, which is Time Well Spent. I grew up on a farm. My dad worked harder than anyone I know, but he was always around when he was needed. He would be home right at all the crisis times when Mom needed help with 9 kids. Or he would take the problem kid out on the farm with him, or he would just spend quality time playing his guitar for us at home. I was thinking recently about how some of the things he did with us were objectively incredibly boring. For example, as a kid, I loved every chance to go out and ride the tractor with Dad. He would put the arm of the tractor seat down, and I would sit on it and ride with him for hours. Until eventually I would curl up and fall asleep awkwardly squished between the back of his seat and the back window of the tractor. Uncomfortable seat, uncomfortable bed, driving at the thrilling pace of 4 or 5 miles per hour, none of that really mattered. What mattered was spending time with my dad, just trying to absorb every minute I could get. There's a wonderful Christmas story by Faith Moore called Christmas Carol, spelled with a K. In the story, Carol takes the place of Ebenezer Scrooge from the original Dickens story. Carol has lost sight of the importance of small things in favor of going and earning the big bucks at her law firm. She decides to leave her kids and husband on Christmas Eve to go into the office and work on a case. Her husband, Beau, pleads with her to keep a promise she had made to make cookies with the kids. Some of the relevant bits are as follows. Quote, "Weren't you supposed to make cookies with them this morning?" Carol shrugged, her body thrumming with anger. "We started, but I'm sure you can finish with them. You're good at stuff like that. I'm a bad mother, remember?" She turned to go. She had to leave, now, before she actually started screaming at Beau. Did it ever occur to you that it's not really about the cookies? It's not about the cookies, Carol. Do you know how many batches of cookies I've made with them since Thanksgiving? They wanted to make cookies with you. Heck, they would have watched paint dry if it had been with you." End quote. That quote reminded me of all the times my dad brought me along for those little things like riding in the tractor. Those small efforts add up over time, creating a relationship of trust that can get through any difficulty. Carol has a moment later in the novel where she remembers a little bit of what doing some of those things was like when her first child was small. She chose to stay at home as a mom and take care of her baby full-time for a full year, which she describes as, quote, "It was frustrating and boring, sure, but it was also wonderful." She let the truth of that come out where it had been hiding, somewhere behind her heart. I was there, you know? There were the tantrums and the stinky diapers and the same book over and over and over. But there were also the toothless grins and the snuggly hugs and just everything, you know? End quote. Unfortunately, Carol lost sight of those things for a while, which lost her a lot of time doing the little important things. But repentance is real, and the story ends predictably happy in this case, I won't spoil it for you, but I highly recommend the novel. What it can teach us is to treasure the small, beautiful pieces of our most important relationships. This doesn't only apply to our relationships with our kids. The novel also has great lessons on marriage and other relationships. We should make it a point to notice, both internally and with vocal gratitude, the things that started growing our relationships in the first place. Your spouse's corny jokes, their compassion for even the littlest problems of other people, their smile, whatever it may be, your child's gift giving, even when the gifts are the silliest of things, their attempts and failures to help at something they aren't quite ready for yet, their amazing resilience to turn out okay, even with your many mistakes. We should attempt to go through life's frustrations and tantrums while focusing on those tiny miracles that fill our souls. You will find as you continue to figuratively watch paint dry with those people, all those little joys will add up and turn that boring or tedious activity into time well spent. Did you enjoy this week's episode of Wisdom in the Best Books and Films? If so, I would ask you to please go and share with anyone that you can think of who may benefit from these topics. Discuss it at work, with friends, at church, anywhere where the opportunity feels natural and the topics would be helpful to others. I personally am not a huge self-promoter, and so the only way that this podcast will get to reach very many people at all is through the listeners. Please also share with me if anything that you've heard has been impactful in your life, or share with me any ideas that you may have of wisdom that you've gleaned from different books or films. Be happy to hear from you anytime, and I will respond to all emails. You can find information for how to contact me in the show notes. Hope to hear from you soon.